Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Steve Barber, and joining me is my host with the most, Mr. Dwaylen Davis.
Hey, everybody.
And today we really don't have just a set topic because there was nothing singularly big,
hmm
but there are some smaller things. In fact, I literally just got a text message from somebody asking me what today's topic was. So I'm going to respond back to him as we're doing this, but uh, just say general news. But anyway, and let me turn my ringer down on my phone because nobody wants to hear, Megadeth. The opening riff to Almost Honest. That's my text tone. So, but anyway, because there's just not a lot of there was not a lot of news to happen.
Not really. I mean, there'll be
There
more.
was, but not.
Yeah, there were little things, but
Yeah,
I mean, there was several little things, and then one big story. But
and even the big story, we're not going to be able to spend an hour talking about it.
no, because it's a familiar story. So
You know what? That's
sadly,
exactly
it's
right.
a familiar story.
Um, but so before we begin, I'll just go ahead and give our contact and listening info kind of early. Well, maybe. So if anybody would like to email us, it's armchairbookingpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/armchairbookingpodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Armchair Booking Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Booking Armchair. You can find us on TikTok at Armchair Booking Podcast. Or actually, I think just Armchair Booking. Sorry. If you're watching us on YouTube, you already know we're on YouTube, but just about any audio platform you can think of, we're there. If we're not there, let us know. We'll get ourselves added. You can find us our merch at tpublic.com/user/armchair-booking-podcast. You can also find Dwaylen at fat_daddy73. You
Yep.
can find in him and his family on his YouTube channel, Big and Fat. And you can also find my other podcast at the Cubicle Chat. So if it's just a way to get away from wrestling for a little bit.
Yeah.
And we have something planned for this Wednesday. Hopefully, we've actually had it planned for over a month, but then we keep getting preempted for different reasons.
Different things keep coming up. So, which you know how life goes.
Yep. And before I forget, definitely want to give another shout out to TNC Sports Talk, the throw in with Justin. He's been doing pretty good trying to get that. He's running solo right now, trying to get it up and going.
Yep.
Definitely give a shout out to the Hillbilly Hill because I don't know if you noticed, but other people they're actually going from his tweets, and they're like, "Man, I got to listen to these guys because I like them. Old school." So the one episode we were on his show has really done a lot for us, and
I've been getting awesome. several follows on my page on my Twitter page.
Twitter, okay, yeah, just from Ted.
Yep.
Because I wonder if it's the same ones I've been getting too. I mean, it's just been, fantastic, getting that. So definitely Ted, thank you very much. I mean,
yes,
that has really, really boosted us. And hopefully, we can keep this going. We'll have to have him back on the show. We'll have to be on his show because we are trying to create our empire and Ted's a big part of that. So, and bless their hearts, True Crime Cast, go check those out. They're not wrestling, but check them out anyway. Just super great guys, and they've been on Jericho's podcast 3 times, and he's been on their podcast. And not even talking about wrestling because Jericho has, a lot of topics he talks about.
Yeah.
So I'm going to answer one more text and say we are about to talk about that because he texted and said, "Man, Jeff Hardy is in rough shape."
Yeah. Yeah. Let me pull up the charges so I don't misquote anything. Because I sent you as soon as I saw it, I sent you the link from Cultaholic on Twitter. He says Jeff Hardy was arrested early Monday morning in Not sure. I'll probably butcher this name. Volusia County, Florida.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh well.
Yeah.
Hmm.
According to an arrest report on the county's website. Per the report, Hardy was booked at 12:45 a.m. local time on 3 charges, including DUI, driving with a suspended or revoked license,
Hmm.
and violating restrictions placed on his license. His bond was $3,500, with the DUI charge itself costing $2,500. I saw an updated report just a few minutes before um, we started recording, and they said that he had been bonded out with the assistance of a bail bondsman. He was supposed to go to court tomorrow, but now it's saying that that court date has been canceled. But I know AEW has stopped advertising him for the triple threat ladder match for the tag titles. That was supposed to happen this Wednesday on Dynamite. So I don't know. That kind of leaves, I mean, once again, kind of leaves Matt in limbo. This isn't the first time that Jeff has screwed up and kind of left Matt in the lurch.
And there's a lot of sad things about the story. But when Jeff was released from WWE,
Mm-hmm.
because remember, he all of a sudden had what they called erratic behavior.
Yeah, and he just left in the middle
And
of a match.
yeah,
And went through the crowd. He didn't even go to the back. He went through the crowd to leave.
And we defended him because we like, that dude was also concussed.
Yeah.
Because when they did a urinalysis on him then, and he came up clean.
Yep.
And so everybody was like, okay, he just made the WWE, eat crow.
Yeah.
And then
WWE,
here it is.
They even offered him, substance abuse help, and he declined it because he said he didn't have any problems.
And we thought, because he said, look, I'm clean.
Yeah.
What happened? What happened, Jeff?
Yeah.
And, if anybody from Moore County is listening to this, and if you know Jeff Hardy personally, because like we've talked about that. I know people who actually know him. This is like they don't know him. They knew him before he was a wrestler.
Right.
If y'all can do anything to help the man, seriously, because, or push him in the direction that he needs to go, because, because when it comes down to it, he's the only person. He has to do it himself.
Yeah, he has to have some accountability for this issue, because it's obvious he has an issue. There's absolutely no excuse for driving drunk. You have friends, you have family, there's Uber, there's Lyft, there's cabs, there's tons of different options of transportation that he could have used instead of driving drunk. Also, he's driving on a suspended license. Yeah. So it's like he didn't have any business behind the wheel in the first place. And here's the thing. We've already had this situation with, Tammy Lynn Sitch.
Yeah.
And that situation ended in a fatality.
Yeah. Also in Florida.
Also in Florida. Jeff could have killed himself. He could have killed somebody else, seriously injured himself, seriously injured somebody else. There's just no excuse for, being intoxicated and getting behind the wheel. And Jeff's got to take accountability for that. It can't be, because when it comes down to it, Jeff's making the choice to drink. Jeff's making the choice to get behind that wheel after he's been drinking. It's all on him. He's the only one that can be held accountable for it. Nobody put a gun to his head and made him take the drink. Nobody put a gun to his head and made him get behind the wheel after he took the drink. And we even said before he even came to AEW, which, it was a foregone conclusion he was going to be in AEW. Yeah, his brother was there. I mean, they were even kind of subtly dropping hints, before before he was able to sign and stuff like that. Everybody knew that's where he was going. But I mean, you get an opportunity at one last run because Jeff's in his mid 40s. His body is destroyed.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy can barely, I mean, he is, and I hate to say this, but he is a shell of his former self. I
Hmm.
mean, you can tell he is in constant pain moving around that ring. But I mean, 30 years of jumping off anything that he could climb up on kind of
Hmm.
catches up to you after a while. I mean, that style, his style of wrestling is honestly, I'm surprised his career has lasted as long as it has with his style of wrestling.
How old was Mick Foley when he called it a day? I mean, and I know he makes occasional appearances, but
Mick was in his late 30s, I think,
yeah.
because he said he wanted to be able, his kids were still small,
Hmm.
and he wanted to be able to play with his children. I mean, it was getting to the point with his knees, he couldn't even get down on the floor and play with his kids.
Yeah. And now, granted, I know that feeling right now too, because if something falls, I just have to debate whether or not I actually need it.
Yeah, me
You
too. I'm
know,
like, it depending on what it is, I'm like, I get one of the big kids. I'm like, hey, pick this up for me.
yeah, I have to have a plan.
I mean, I can get down in the floor no problem,
Yeah,
but getting back up is a
good. But
chore sometimes.
I'm having waiting for the dog to come over. I'm gonna use her to kind of push myself up. But in all seriousness though, Mick Foley, you think about the bumps he was taking,
Hmm.
and then Mick Foley took some nasty, nasty ones. We always think about the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah,
We think about the other Hell in a Cell when they actually planned it and he went
yeah,
through part of the ring.
yeah.
Um, his elbow drop onto the concrete, that was his finishing move for a bit.
Hmm. Yeah.
Just some of the other stuff.
The spear through the flaming table at
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
those for the most part, with the exception of the elbow drop. But that one was from a height of what, 4 feet?
Yeah,
You
from the
know,
ring, from like the ring apron to,
yeah, to the
yeah.
concrete.
Sometimes he would climb up to the middle rope and do it,
Yeah,
but yeah, 4 or 5 feet.
yeah. Getting power bombed by Vader on the concrete.
Yeah,
Not
taking
once,
straight.
but twice
Yeah,
because he did it like
taking
a year
those
later.
taking closed fist full on strikes from Vader in
Yeah,
the face.
but he didn't do those, and they were Mick Foley took some just they said horrendous bumps,
Hmm.
and you see the toll it took in his body. Jeff Hardy took more, and they were even more dangerous.
Yes, I mean it's like the higher the platform, the more Jeff was,
Yeah,
enticed to jump off of it, and it's like your body can't do that constantly. And I mean, that's what Jeff Hardy is known for. That's what he built his
yeah,
career on. Matt is more of the wrestler, and
hmm,
Jeff is the high flying daredevil. And I'm hoping that Darby Allin pays attention.
hmm.
I love Darby Allin. I love his style. He's a young guy, but he's going to have to eventually tone that back, or he's going to be in the same situation that Jeff's in physically.
And if you look at Jeff, you compare Jeff's body type to Mick Foley. Mick Foley even tell you, he's not a bodybuilder. He would go in the gym,
Yeah.
but he said when he wrote it was either his first or second book, he was able to bench about what he was able to bench when he was in high school, and that was not
Hmm.
a lot. I mean, he was strong enough
Yeah.
he could get the Undertaker up into like a stump pile driver and things like
Yeah.
that.
Well, and
But
he said he worked on his cardio the most because he said at the end of the day, it doesn't matter you know, how jacked you are. If you can't go longer than 5 minutes, then it doesn't do you any good.
right, uh, Jeff Hardy was a football player in high school, so the coach
Hmm.
made him choose between what he looked at like a professional sport or high school football at Union Pines High School.
Yeah.
And and because the coach honestly was questioning his eligibility, he didn't,
Hmm.
but at the same time, he's also questioning, going, look,
Yeah.
you could hurt yourself doing
Yeah.
this. And so Jeff Hardy, I mean, he is an athlete. I mean,
Hmm.
through and through. And said that might be what has kept him
Could
going.
be, but I mean, you could tell every time he hits that swanton bomb, he gets up and immediately holds his lower back.
Yeah.
And you can tell he's in pain climbing the rope. He's in pain doing just his greatest hits. When he does
Yeah.
his greatest hits during the matches, you can tell he is in pain, constant pain. And it's like, you've got this one last shot, at, one last run. Why would you screw that up? I mean, you've learned nothing from you've done this in WWE multiple times. You've done this in TNA multiple times. It's like sooner or later, you have to learn from your mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can teach it to you. You've got to learn from those mistakes.
And he's got kids.
Yeah. He's got a wife. He's got children.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I wasn't sure if he was married still or
Yeah.
not, but
I think so. Last I heard he was, but even if he's not, he's got children, that look up to him, that depend on him. As far as business goes, his brother depends on him,
mhm.
And it's like, you've got to think about other people besides yourself. And, that
And nobody's going to hate him if he decides to hang it up.
nobody's going to hate him if he decides to hang it up. Nobody's going to hate him if he gets help. I mean,
Right.
John Moxley openly admitted he had an issue with alcohol and went and
Yeah.
got treatment
Went and got help.
and has been open about talking about it in front of, the live crowd on AEW TV. There's no shame in getting help if you need it.
And-
It's better
and-
to get help than the alternative.
And you know what? Moxley talks about it openly in the hopes that somebody else
Exactly.
will do the same thing.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean, if you've been down there and somebody helped you,
Yeah.
you want to pay that forward. You want to help somebody else who's in
Mhm.
the same situation.
Yep.
So, but the person also still has to want to be helped.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's, it's like it's with alcohol or drugs or any sort of addiction. It doesn't matter how much people do for you. Doesn't matter how much people talk to you. You have got to be willing to make those changes. You've got to admit to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem and I need to make a change.
Yes. So Jeff, I mean, we're all hoping and praying for you. And like I said, if
Mhm.
anybody in Moore County who's listening to this,
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to, I mean, tell them, come to us, not because we're being fans. I mean, because Dwaylen and I have also been open about our problems with alcohol
Yep.
back in the day.
Yep.
It's been 9 years now since I drank, and I know it's been a lot longer.
It's been 21 for me.
Yeah. So it can happen. So, but I will go ahead and move on. Because talking about other stories, and one that you sent to me, I think it was yesterday or last night.
Yeah.
Because I actually said, well, I don't recognize it because I'll admit that I don't follow NXT as much as what I guess I could.
I honestly, I don't follow it as much as I used to before they changed to 2.0. Now it's one of those, I just mainly watch the YouTube clips and kind of keep up what's going on there.
But Troy, was it Two Dimes? Donovan?
Yeah. He played a character named Two Dimes. He was, they have a character on NXT, Tony D'Angelo. They're doing a Sopranos type gimmick where he's like the Don of his family, and there's a guy named Stax and a guy named Two Dimes.
Stax?
Yeah.
Like out of Goodfellas?
Yeah.
They shot Stax.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
you know who played Stax?
Yeah. My
Yep.
favorite actor, Samuel L. Jackson. Yep.
That's right. Mace Windu.
But the guy that plays Stax, his real name is Channing Lorenzo.
Okay.
And then
they had to give him another name. That name,
I know. It's like right there. They could have just called him Lorenzo.
Yeah.
But that's WWE's mandate of you can't use your real name.
Well,
you can't use any name that you used on the independents or anything like that. So
I mean, they're going for the Italian family.
But instead of doing it, like I said, with some class, they're doing the most stereotypical mob stuff that they can do. So one guy's named Stacks and the other guy's named Two Dimes. And Two Dimes got released.
They call this guy Nicky Get the Papers 2 times because he says everything twice. I want to get the papers. Get the papers. But but the reason that it's come out, they have not actually released anything official except for he's released. Yeah. They haven't released anything but him. Whatever I just said. They have not put out an official statement except for one that actually says he's been released.
Right.
It was Meltzer who, from his connections, his channels, his snitches in the office, that came and said it was policy issue.
Yeah.
And my response to that one was, I was like, what the heck does policy issue mean?
Well, Troy Donovan released a statement on Twitter. I saw it earlier today. He said that, and he didn't really elaborate on what the policy issue was. He just said, mistakes happen. There's some, things I have to work on and stuff like that. But, I'm going to, make my improvements and, come back better than before, but still didn't say what the thing was. I don't know if it was just like an immaturity thing.
That honestly, that's
something
what
immature.
Yeah.
And they were just like, no. Here's the thing. This is the bad thing about this axe that WWE likes to drop real quick. He was a part of a pretty big storyline on NXT. You have two factions. You have Legado del Fantasma. It's Santos Escobar. He's got two guys with him. You've got Tony D'Angelo, and he's got two guys with him. Troy Donovan, Two Dimes, was with them. They had a match at a NXT special, absorbed both families into one. So they've got this big storyline going on of these two families having to coexist as one, and then one of the major players gets released
for policy
issues. But they're not saying, and it's funny, they're not saying what the policy issue was, but if anybody has like substance abuse issues, or they were quick to release a statement when Naomi and Sasha left, they were quick to release a statement trying to tell everything that goes on, but they're not saying what the policy issue was.
If I had to guess, because I'm starting thinking in my head, okay, if it's something, he admitted he
admitted he made a mistake. So
okay, if it was anything racist or sexist towards somebody, they would have. They usually say those things.
Yeah. They usually put those up front. Yeah.
I mean, I'll admit, they're not ones to try to sweep those under the rug. They're like, look, this dude said this.
Mm-hmm.
We're done with him. Bye.
We don't deal with that, and he's gone.
Yeah, we'll put him back in the Hall of Fame later. But
exactly.
So,
I lost my drink there.
sorry, I should have waited for you to finish. Anyway, but so it makes me wonder if it's. I would think it's some kind of disciplinary issue, but it's something minor. But it sounds like it's something that happened enough times where he was given warnings.
Yeah,
it may be.
I'm hoping that. I hate to see anybody get fired, but I'm hoping that if he had to be let go, that it was one of those things where he had multiple he was given multiple chances.
That's what it sounds like.
And then something else happened, and that was the final straw. I hope it wasn't just, he did something stupid one time, and we got to let you go.
Right.
Unless he wasn't improving on the speed, I guess you'd say, that they thought he should be improving, and then he did something dumb, and that was their way to just cut him loose without having to say that you weren't improving enough for us.
Well, I wouldn't think they would have him in, one of the NXT. It is NXT. It's not one of the main.
Yeah, it's not
roster,
Raw or SmackDown, but
it's still a main.
It's still a main brand. For for your developmental brand, they were, one of the central stories.
Exactly. So, I mean, it could be a matter of constantly showing up late.
Could be.
Now granted, Bret Hart apparently had a bad habit, and he didn't just show up a little late. Bret Hart used to show up hours late.
Yeah, they said Bret Hart was not very punctual ever.
Yeah, and I would have some issues with that, but
Yeah.
and that's not just the military in me, even though that is a large part of it.
Yeah. That's just, yeah.
But that's
I mean,
just common courtesy and common sense.
Yeah, and that's just me. It's like if I've got to be somewhere, I like to be there at least 15 minutes early.
Yeah, always shoot for 15 minutes early.
Yeah.
That's
I don't like getting somewhere. If I get somewhere exactly, say I have to be somewhere at 11 and I get there at 11, I feel like I'm late.
Right. So, but I mean, I think it will eventually come out, and I think it'll be a case of we warned him and we warned him. And, I mean, he may have been a disciplinary issue. He may have snapped at the trainers. I mean, we don't know.
Could be. I mean, and the way WWE, way some of their trainers are, well, not necessarily trainers anymore, but because I got rid of Bill DeMott, but some of the producers, it's like you say the wrong thing and you're in trouble. So,
but he's gone now from the WWE. They said a year or so. Whatever it was couldn't have been too serious, because they did say they'll give him another shot in a year if he's willing to come back.
Yeah.
So it must have been, you go take a year off, go work on yourself.
Yeah.
Come back. But somebody else who left the WWE, and I'm guessing this is for good, and they left on good terms, because she wasn't wrestling anymore anyway. She can't. She'll probably never get clear again. That's Paige.
Yep.
Also known as Soraya. Also known, what's her real name? Soraya Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Actually, well, I think her last name was actually Bavis. But she went by Soraya Knight because she's a second generation wrestler from Norwich, England. There's a movie about her.
Her first match was against her mom, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or either her mom or her brother when she was something like 13.
Yeah.
And because they needed, they're like, we need the so and so had to get in there.
Yeah.
And all right, so like you said, though, may have been against your mom. If you've never seen the movie Fighting with My Family, the movie is, I think it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep. So
they said that it was WWE's idea to release her because basically they didn't have anything for her. Right. I don't know. I find it hard to believe with her talent they couldn't have found her some kind of on-screen thing to do, manager.
They tried having her as a manager at one point, but then
she was managing Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and then they ended up deciding to split them up. So then Paige didn't need to be the manager anymore. And
all right. All right. WWE, look here. Dwayne and I have been telling y'all now for almost a year. You need to listen to us, okay? We're not on the level of Ted. We're not number one in Antarctica and MySpace.
Exactly. But
we haven't won the awards he has, but we're trying. How could you not find something? Why do you could have had a great faction there. Paige has been in the wrestling business since she was over 13 years old. I mean, her family, I mean, the movie was apparently pretty accurate.
Yeah.
As far as, showing her family. Now, her family's rough. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some other things about the movie that were pretty true.
Yeah.
But she has a great wrestling mind.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to use her in some capacity within your company.
I mean, a great wrestling mind. I mean, charisma, it factor. I mean, she is completely over with the crowd. Her music hits, crowd loses their mind. She could be a great manager. She could be a great trainer. I know she physically can't do a whole lot, but she has a lot of knowledge that she could give. And I don't know why they haven't used her in like NXT. I mean, NXT could, if that's your developmental, then use somebody that's been in the business. I mean, pushing 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't even think she's 30 yet.
I don't think she's 30 yet, but I mean, she's already been in the business, like,
that long.
15, 16 years. And it's like, how could you not use her? And that was their thing. Her current contract is up July 1st, and they chose not to re-sign her.
So I mean, it was an amicable split, and she
Mhm.
has put out her own messages,
Yeah.
thanking the WWE, and she said there's nothing, no hard feelings at all on either side. That one actually was a business thing. Like, we don't have anything for you.
Yeah.
I don't agree with them not having anything for her, but
Yeah.
but they don't have
She's
anything for her.
hoping to be able to wrestle again. She said, never say never. She said everybody's neck issue is different, but she said, I'm using Edge and Daniel Bryan as inspiration to see, what can be done. She said, somebody asked her on Twitter if she would go to AEW, and she's like, she said she'd go if the money was right. Can't falter. Know your worth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, granted, you know where I want to see her go.
Yeah.
NWF.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure all the NWF army would love to see that too.
Speaking of NWF, I meant to text you. I don't know if you saw it on Facebook. NWF alumni, Machine Gun Carl Anderson
Yes.
won the New Japan Pro Wrestling Open Weight Championship this past weekend.
Yep. I don't remember who I saw who tweeted it or put the message out, but yes, I did see that. Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't realize the NWF, for as small of an organization as what it is.
Yeah, they have far-reaching ties.
Yes, they do. I mean, and you
to
look
pro
at
wrestling.
look at the talent they
Yeah.
put out there.
Yeah, I mean, you got Carl Anderson, 7-time tag champion. Actually, he's got more tag titles because him and Luke Gallows are 7-time tag champions between Impact, New Japan, and WWE. But Carl Anderson has also held the New Japan tag titles with he was Albert in WWE.
Oh, okay,
But
yeah.
he went by Giant Bernard in New Japan, and him and Giant Bernard believe they held the tag titles twice. So I mean, Carl Anderson has got 9 or 10 tag team titles on his resume with different companies, plus the current open neverweight champion. So
The guy who you're saying is Albert. He's one of the head trainers now in
yeah,
WWE.
Matt Bloom.
Matt Bloom. Just fantastic wrestler.
Oh yeah, he
And
was a monster over in New Japan.
he's one of those like big dude who does moves that big dudes shouldn't be able to do.
Yes. I'm
And
trying to think of Abyss. You got Abyss, who is a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He's former X Division champion, former tag team champion. I mean,
and now he's an agent. The WWE. You know what I said. I said what I said.
Yeah, but definitely, if you're in the Ohio area, definitely support NWF. They have far-reaching ties.
Former guest on our show, Wildcat Chris Harris.
Absolutely, multiple times.
Yep.
NWA World Tag Team Champion.
So apparently, he just made an appearance again on Impact.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because they're doing the Impact Originals versus Honor No More. It's like some of the people that came over for Ring of Honor, the original Ring of Honor before Tony Khan bought it.
Chris says there I mean, I know you've not had the chance to meet him in person yet. That will change whenever you bring your butt up here and you come stay with us. We're going to go watch some NWF. But he has been nothing but a gentleman. He's actually, when he sees me, he's always gets a big old smile on his face. Hey man, how you doing? So he just a great guy. And I've actually met his wife too, Shannon. She's great as well. Just great people all around. So I'm happy that if people are associating us with the NWF, you know what? I'm definitely not complaining because it is a great organization.
Absolutely.
But talking about Luke Gallows, or no, Carl Anderson
Mhm.
winning the IWGP title. Was that part of Forbidden Door, or it was going to be part of Forbidden Door?
No, that was just um,
Just a one-off, or
storylines within New Japan. No, that's not. I don't. As far as I know, it doesn't have anything to do with Forbidden Door. Um, they've got stuff going on in New Japan. Plus, they're feuding with the Briscoes and Impact because the Briscoes are currently the tag team champions in Impact.
okay. But something that you told me before we started recording, though, talking about Forbidden Door, and here's where the business side and politics comes into play in wrestling, and then it's wrestling is still a business.
Yep.
So, but you're saying the Lucha Brothers and Andrade are not working Forbidden Door.
Right. They're having this mini tournament to determine the first All Atlantic champion, which is going to be kind of like their international title since they have a working relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Well, New Japan Pro Wrestling has a working relationship with CMLL out of Mexico, which is a rival promotion for AAA, which out of Mexico. CMLL, AAA do not like each other. Andrade and the Lucha Brothers work with AAA. So now they can't wrestle on Forbidden Door because they can't wrestle any New Japan Pro Wrestling talent because of the political aspect between them and CMLL, which basically gives away the upcoming match between Penta and Malachi Black. That's one of the tournament matches. So Malachi Black's going over because there's going to be a fatal four-way at the pay-per-view at Forbidden Door to determine the new champion. Pac's already in, representing the United Kingdom. Since Lucha Brothers can't be in it, then Malachi Black will go over. He's from Amsterdam. And then another match is on this week's Dynamite is Ethan Page from Canada and Miro from Bulgaria. I'm sure Miro will win. So, and then I can't remember who the last match is, but yeah, the political side of pro wrestling rears its ugly head.
Yeah. Yeah. When.
And it's just, and that sucks because you have three mega talented athletes that should be representing AEW on this show and can't due to politics from other companies that they are, that they have a working relationship with.
And for anybody who may not deal a lot with business and the political side, what we're saying, they could, however, they would find themselves blackballed from other events.
Yeah, they would find themselves, if they went ahead and worked Forbidden Door, they would find themselves blackballed from AAA.
Yep, because you worked with the competition.
Yeah,
and
see, what's weird though is Andrade worked before he went to WWE. He worked there. But CMLL is still mad at Andrade because he left there to sign with WWE.
Oh, see,
so it's just a lot of
soap opera.
Yeah, some of it's politics and some of it is just pettiness. Yeah.
I mean, now there's some wrestlers out there who could get away with it, but you're talking like Conan. And I'm saying because of Mexico. Conan.
And here's the thing: Conan could get away with it because Conan just will not. He does not care. He's just going to. Conan's at that point, and he has built his legacy to where it's like, I'm just going to work with who I want to work with, and if somebody over here doesn't like it, oh well.
And I remember watching Conan in WCW. I always liked him. When he was part of the NWO, his was it the Tequila Sunrise finishing move?
Yes. Yeah, I always like that.
Great submission move.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, he's really good.
Especially the roll through into it. Yeah.
And just the way he did things, always kind of, you're like, okay, he's he's always focused on it.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of Jake Roberts, because Jake Roberts is always laser focused.
Yeah.
I didn't know at the time that they were calling him the Hulk Hogan of Mexico.
Yes. Oh yeah. He was a huge star.
Big. Yeah.
Yeah. He was a massive star in Mexico. Conan was a lot of the reason why the cruiserweight division was so successful, because he was the one who brought in a lot of the luchadors.
And sharp businessman.
Mm-hmm.
He is affiliated with one of the promotions. Is it AAA or is it CMLL?
I'll have to look. I can't remember. I know he's worked for both in the past.
Well, actually, there's your answer then. Which one's he affiliated with? Whichever one he wants.
Whichever one he wants, yeah.
But
right now he is working with Major League Wrestling.
Okay, forgot about them. Because when I start thinking like Mexican promotions, that's not one that really jumps out at me.
He was the first ever CMLL World Heavyweight Champion.
So there you go. I mean, he's, but some of the other wrestlers like Ric Flair, even though he's now Andrade's father-in-law.
Yep.
Flair could get away with whatever Flair wants.
Yeah. But you've got to be that high profile. Like
you got to be up there.
You've got to be a Cena, a Rock, an Austin, a Hogan, a Flair. You've got to be, top of the mountain type people.
Right. Where if you try to blackball somebody, it's going to come back on you.
Yeah.
So, but that is a shame that they're not going to let them in there. Because like you said, 3 mega talented guys. Actually, every time I think Andrade, I think that I don't know what to call it, like the spider in the web move, where he's going to ropes and all of a sudden he kind of gets himself, looks like he's caught in between the top and the middle rope, but he kind of and he's kind of hanging there like, hi.
Oh, the Tranquilo.
Yes.
Because that came from because Tetsu Naito does that in New Japan Pro Wrestling. That comes from a group that Andrade was in CMLL.
Okay.
De Ingobernables. It's the Ungovernables. It was him and Rush and Naito, because in Japan they'll send younger wrestlers on an excursion to either the United States or Mexico. Naito was on an excursion to Mexico, was involved with that group, and came back to New Japan, formed an offshoot of that. But yeah, Andrade was in that, and that's the Tranquilo. Yeah,
love that move. And it's not like it's really doing anything to the opponent. Just
but he's just sitting there looking like
huh. And when Zelina Vega, when he would do it, and she would get up on the ring apron and kind of lean right under him, doing the same thing. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's not gonna hurt somebody. It's just gonna make them mad. But that's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
But and we're talking about like Mexican wrestlers. I'm trying to get all these nice segues in here. And we have a Mexican American wrestler. And I had not heard this story, so you'll definitely have to tell more of it. Thunder Rosa, she's being accused of sandbagging.
She wrestled Marina Shafir on AEW Dynamite for the Women's World Title. There's been stuff on Twitter. I just saw it today that she had been accused of sandbagging Shafir during the match. I watched that match. It was an excellent match. Obviously Thunder Rosa won. But I didn't really see, because a lot of times it's with sandbagging, you can kind of tell if somebody's sandbagging another wrestler. Yeah. And I didn't see any evidence of that. There was some tweets that went out that was talking about the sandbagging, which was liked by Marina Shafir and Britt Baker. So I don't know how much of this was legit and how much of this is just wrestlers using social media to further storylines. So
right, it's kind of those.
It's because that's how a lot of wrestlers, and smartly, it's how they build their stories. They use social media to keep their presence out there. Just from what I just from what I know, and obviously I don't know Thunder Rosa personally, but just from what I know of her through talking to other people that are in the business, I just don't see her doing that. She just doesn't seem like the type of person that would do that. That would just sandbag somebody.
Especially considering, I mean, she runs her own promotion,
Yeah.
and talking about politics, I'm pretty
Yep.
sure, yeah, if she got a reputation of doing that in the ring, they would not want to work with her in her promotion.
Right. And every time you see anything on social media about her, this is the first negative thing I've ever seen about her on social media. Everything else you see, they talk about what an amazing experience it is to wrestle in her company. What an amazing person she is. She's always professional, things like that.
Think about this: we had somebody actually come on our show and tell us that.
Absolutely.
That'd
Yep.
be Big Mama.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She told us that. I mean, she had nothing but good things to say about
Yeah.
Thunder Rosa.
So I don't know how much of this is legit or how much is just, they're furthering storylines with, Marina Shafir and Britt Baker.
It's a weird way to kind of further a storyline.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, but speaking of weird storylines, and I've been missing SmackDown and here lately, but apparently Riddle's getting a title shot.
Yeah, originally he was supposed to get the title shot at Money in the Bank. That was their original plan, was him at Money in the Bank, Orton at SummerSlam, McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. They pulled Roman from Money in the Bank, so we don't get that match. So Roman's going to defend the title on free TV. I find that dumb.
We try not to speak negative about people and organizations, but sometimes
just to be blunt about it, I just find that dumb because
if the baby's ugly, call it ugly.
You want to keep network subscribers. Roman is the absolute biggest star in your company, but then you're going to have a pay-per-view with world title implications with Money in the Bank and not have your world champion present. But anyway, so Riddle is getting his title shot this Friday on SmackDown. Paul Heyman was on Miz TV, I believe at the beginning of Raw. He said that if Matt Riddle doesn't beat Roman Reigns for the championship, then he can never challenge for the title as long as Roman Reigns is champion. So they've just pretty much said Roman's winning. So
yeah,
I mean, we all know how that goes. They've used that stipulation 100 times.
It's a recycled storyline. We know that.
Yeah, and it's always the champion always retains.
Because I'm trying to think, there had to have been at least one where
I can't think of one where the champion went. Well, did they put that stipulation in place when Dolph Ziggler was challenging the Miz for the Intercontinental title? It was at No Mercy.
Oh, that was like 2015, was it?
No, it was 2016.
2016. Okay.
Yeah,
it was around that time.
Yeah, I can't remember if that was the stipulation or not. I know they main evented that pay-per-view, him and the Miz, which it was an excellent match, but I can't remember. I can't remember anybody. I can't remember a challenger ever beating the champion when that stipulation was in place.
And the stipulation is if they don't win the title.
Yeah, they have to win the title.
Yeah,
not just they could beat the champion by disqualification, count out, whatever. But if they don't win the title, if Riddle doesn't win the title, then he can't challenge for it as long as Reigns is champion.
Because we all remember SummerSlam 1993.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you know what? If they have balloons falling on the ring for Riddle,
I can't.
That's.
If you don't know what we're talking about, 93 SummerSlam, Lex Luger wrestled Yokozuna for the WWF title. Luger won the match by countout because he hit Lex Luger legitimately has a metal plate in his forearm from a motorcycle wreck. Well, he hit Yokozuna with the forearm. Yokozuna falls out of the ring. can't get back in before the 10 count. Luger wins the match. Did
A
not win
count
the
out.
title. Won the match on a count out. But they're dropping balloons and confetti, and he's waving, he's waving a flag, and
they're playing the Stars and Stripes Forever.
Baby faces came out and put him up on their shoulders and stuff, and it's like he won by count out. Yokozuna's still going home with the belt. What are you celebrating?
Yeah, and if you really want to, you can go on our archives, and you can find us. We actually did a review, I guess, of SummerSlam 1993, and we did it August last year. So go in the archives. You can always find our shows in the archives. And while you're there, actually give us a 5-star rating, give us a review, let us know how we're doing. I mean, that can only help us.
Right.
So, but yeah, you can go find this. It was dated August 17th, 2021. That's when Joel and we actually did that show. So either way, I mean, like you said, Riddle's not going to win the title. It's a recycled storyline, but it's one, thankfully, they have not used like every 6 months, like the way they seem to do everything else.
Yeah, they haven't used it in a while, so it will help build Riddle up as a credible challenger, but it's just another example of their booking leaving no mystery to anything, because everybody knows Roman's not losing the title. He's not losing it to Riddle. He's not losing it to Orton. The only way I could see him losing the title is if he loses it to Drew McIntyre at the pay-per-view in Cardiff. To get
I can see that. Yep. Because I was thinking, well, the whole hometown crowd, but Drew McIntyre, he's Scottish. He's not Welsh.
Right. So who's left? I mean,
right.
At this stage in his career, Orton doesn't need the title. He's had 14 of them.
I don't want to see him with the title again anyway.
No, I don't either.
Nothing against him, but
you've had it 14 times. It's like, I'm fine with him challenging for it. I'm sure it'll be an excellent match.
Yeah.
But he's not winning it. He shouldn't win it. If anybody, give it to Drew. Let Roman take a little time off. Let him come back. Let him start building towards him and The Rock at next year's WrestleMania, because The Rock does not have any movies lined up beyond the first quarter of next year. So he's open. He could do a match if that's the match they've been wanting to do. It doesn't need the title. This is like Brock and Goldberg, which they made the mistake of putting the title on the line, but this does not need the title. You've got the absolute biggest star in WWE right now. One of the absolute greatest of all time, one of the absolute biggest star in Hollywood.
Never would have thought that.
Yeah.
Die, Rocky, die. That's going to be the biggest star in Hollywood. I never would have. No.
I wouldn't have thought it either, but he's absolutely the biggest star in Hollywood. The family ties, the story tells itself. Roman's, Roman's this megastar. Rock is this megastar. Roman's this megastar. He's the tribal chief, head of the table is what he calls himself. Clash of family members to see really who is, head of the family.
Because Rocky, Dwayne Johnson, his granddad was, it was a nickname, but it was a real title, High Chief. Yeah, Peter Maivia.
Peter Maivia, yep.
So Rock could easily come in there and say, who are you to call yourself the tribal chief when I'm here?
Yeah, when I'm here, and my grandfather was the tribal chief.
Right.
Yeah. The story tells itself, but I'm just afraid because WWE thinks they have to put a title on the line with every story. And it's like some stories do. I am old school, and I still feel like the championship should always be the number one priority. But every now and then there is a match that I can make an exception for that is a little bigger than a world title match. Like Rock Hogan at WrestleMania 18.
Did not need a title.
Didn't need a title. Should have been the main event.
Yeah.
uh, this match, Rock and Reigns, should be the main event. Absolutely does not need a title. You're going to sell WrestleMania as soon as you put a graphic up that says The Rock versus Roman Reigns. You're going to sell out WrestleMania.
Well, I will buy tickets right then. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't even,
right there.
where.
I don't even
Yeah,
know where it is yet, but yeah,
we would
right
figure
then.
out a way to get there.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is one of those. This is one of those like Rock and Cena type things.
The first
one.
match of a lifetime.
They shouldn't have done it again. They just got greedy and they're like, "Oh my God, it made so much money over here. Let's do it one more time." But then we're going to put the title on the line.
Yeah, they named the movie The Last Jedi. The next movie, they might as well name it We Found Another Jedi.
Yeah, we found one more.
Found one more.
But I think Roman will drop it to Drew McIntyre. I think that's what should happen. I think he'll drop it to Drew.
I don't think that would be an unpopular move.
No, because Roman is still hot. So have him drop the title while he's still hot before it gets to where people are like, "Oh my God, this has gone on long enough." There are a small majority of people that are already at that point where they're like, "Okay, his title reign's gone on long enough." I'm not one of those people because I'm still enjoying the title reign.
I am, but it's going to get old on me if he doesn't start defending it.
Yeah, here's the thing. They shouldn't have unified the titles. And I'm for one at the beginning was like they need to unify the titles. But I say they shouldn't have unified the titles because they didn't have a plan of what they were going to do once it happened.
Right.
And now with Reigns working a reduced schedule, you just have no world champion at all showing up. And somebody had a good point I saw on TikTok. Storyline wise, this was the exact same thing when Roman was a babyface and chasing Brock Lesnar. He was always complaining that Lesnar didn't show up for work, that he was there every week and Roman didn't show up for work and Roman was the champion. And I mean, Brock didn't show up for work and Brock was the champion. Fast forward, we're in that same position with Roman.
It's kind of like that one meme with the dude. He's always playing this like, "Can't lose a title if you don't defend it."
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yep. You can have like a 1,000-day title reign if you never defend it.
Do tomorrow.
Yeah.
But speaking of titles, Ricochet lost his Intercontinental title to Walter Gunther.
Yeah. Of course, WWE, they changed his name to Gunther. Hate that name. He built a reputation as Walter. He was longest reigning NXT UK champion ever. Was Walter there? Was Walter at NXT until about halfway through his run, about 2/3 of the way through his run. I guess what happened, Walter, he had said he would never move to the States.
Okay.
So that's why he was always on NXT UK. But then I guess he changed his mind and decided, I guess they kind of dangled the main roster thing at him. So he changed his name, which is good for him because if he ever leaves, he can go back to Walter with no problem. And nobody likes Gunther. Nobody likes the name Gunther. Everybody still calls him Walter. I see it on social media all the time. People are like me and it's like, I'm not calling him that. He's still Walter.
Yeah.
So he's going to be fine if he ever leaves. But excuse me, there's even Walter chants when he's wrestling on SmackDown. So they're not fooling anybody by changing his name.
Nope.
But yeah, he beat Ricochet for the Intercontinental title. I'm hoping he has a good run because they didn't really give Ricochet anything to do when he was Intercontinental champion.
They didn't.
He even won the Intercontinental title on distraction. So it's not like he had this amazing match and just won the title.
And once again, it may feel like, look here, have the title for a bit. All right, give it back.
Yeah, it's one of those, everybody's like, can you do something with Ricochet? Okay, we gave him the Intercontinental title. Okay, he's had it a few months. Now give it back.
All right.
We gave you what you asked for. Now shut up. We're moving on to somebody else.
When I saw Walter, when I saw him holding the belt, it's been so long since I've seen the IC title. I didn't know which belt it was.
Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like that belt.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
I
like.
remember there's a new one, but
Yeah, I don't like that they changed it. I wish they would have stayed with the classic design.
hmm yeah, the kind of white or yellow. I mean, they actually had different
Yeah, they had
physical
the
leather
started out
colors.
with black, and then like it was yellow, white. Like when Shawn Michaels first had it, it was white. The Ultimate Warrior had one with a yellow
Yep.
back on it with yellow strap. But I like that version. That's my favorite version of the
You know,
Intercontinental title.
usually most of the belts that I like, I prefer like the black belt
Hmm.
itself, with everything else front. But for some reason, the Intercontinental title, I like that white.
The white, yeah, it just pops.
It
The
does.
white, yeah,
Just like the TV title, WCW TV title
yes,
has to be red.
yes.
If it's anything but, yeah,
Yep, one of my favorite championships ever. I'm one of these days I'm going to be able to buy that belt, but to add to my collection. But yeah, the NWA World Television title, yeah, it has to be that red
red.
leather. Yeah,
Yeah. Uh, and speaking of the NWA TV title, a friend of ours, I mean, I think we're
yeah,
good enough now. We can call him a friend.
yeah.
Matthew Mims, also known as just Mims.
Hmm.
Was it in the TV title match that this
Yes,
happened?
yeah. He wrestled. He was wrestling Tyrus at the. It was Always Ready. It was the NWA pay per view in
Okay.
Knoxville, and
He got really
yeah,
hurt. Actually,
yeah,
he put it on Facebook
yeah.
because I mean I was about tempted to send him a message and actually ask him, hey, is
Hmm.
this shoot or work? And
Right.
just from judging comments, I'm guessing it's a shoot. And of course, I'm also thinking, you know how much it would take to hurt Matt Mims?
Yeah, that's a big dude. Yeah,
Man,
but he was wrestling Tyrus, who is
it was also, yeah.
a very big dude. So
Let's see. He says busted elbow, dislocated shoulder, and a wicked concussion. Um, yeah, well, Mims, I mean, he's definitely, ready for him to get better
yeah,
because I mean he's such a great person. Um, and he makes us feel stupid, and I say that in a good way because
yeah.
uh,
His vocabulary is
it's like,
amazing.
yeah, I mean, and that says something about somebody when as big and jacked as what he is.
Hmm.
That's the first thing we think of is,
Yeah,
man, that dude. They call him the walking thesaurus for a
yeah.
reason.
I thought I had a very good vocabulary until talking to Mims, and it's like
Oh, first,
I gotta step my game up.
the first time, the first time we interviewed him, I texted you. I'm like, I got to look up some of the stuff he was saying. I mean, yeah, and then I was like, man, am I just slipping or what? And then Devin actually called him the walking thesaurus, and
Yeah,
I was like, okay,
but I
it's not
like
just
that
us.
it shows that because wrestlers a lot of time get this because people still look down on pro wrestling, and wrestlers especially get this idea. It's like, oh well, they're too dumb to do anything else. So,
Right?
and it's like that is absolutely not the case. Some of the most intelligent people you ever meet are pro wrestlers.
Yeah, and well, look at Xavier Woods.
Yeah, man's got a
Doc
PhD.
Doctor Xavier Woods. That's a real title.
Exactly. Yep.
Um, Nikki Cross has a master's degree in English.
Hmm. Yep.
And
Yep.
I'm not saying degrees equate to smartness. What I am saying is, though, I mean, she put in a lot of effort because I have a master's degree. It takes a lot of effort to get one of
Yeah.
those.
It takes a
Trust
lot of
me.
effort. It takes a lot of effort and a lot in intelligence to be able to get that, though. I mean,
Yeah,
they just don't hand master's degrees out on the corner.
believe me, I know. I tried, and they said no. You got to go. Yeah, all
Nope. You got
right,
to go to
fine.
school and do the work.
Yep. And I can also tell you though, I know several very extremely intelligent people like yourself who don't have a master's degree,
Yeah.
and you could easily get one.
Yeah.
So and because I've known you for that long, and actually, kind of a side note, out of the four of us, between me, you, our friend who was on the show that did a watch along, and my neighbor who used to live behind me,
Yeah.
female,
Uh-huh.
how was I the first one to get the degree? I'm still trying to figure that out because I mean, y'all were like, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to finish it. No, I was the first. Don't know how
Yep.
that happened, but um, but anyway, but the real title Matthew Mims needs. He needs the 10 pound.
Speaking of, if you're not on YouTube, Steve is holding his replica of the 10 pounds of gold, the
I am.
NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. Speaking of which,
It's
Matt
huge.
Cardona had to relinquish the NWA World's title because of his shoulder injury. Yeah, actually bicep.
Okay.
He
Okay.
tore his bicep off the bone. Had to have surgery. At Always Ready in Knoxville, he had to.
Man, what's up with people hurting themselves in Knoxville?
Well, no, he was hurt before.
Okay.
It's just he had to relinquish the title in at the pay-per-view, and then Trevor Murdoch ended up winning the title back, that's who Matt Murdoch beat to win the title in the first place. So
Matt
kind
Murdoch?
of Trevor Murdoch. I said Matt Murdoch, not Daredevil. Trevor Murdoch. For those who don't know that, he was in WWE. He won the World Tag Team titles with what's his name? Oh, you're on a blank.
I'm about to look it up now. I got to put the 10 pounds of gold down so I can look this up.
But while Steve's looking that up, Trevor Murdoch regained the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So this is his second reign. Another one of those. I'm going to show WWE what they released and go somewhere else and become a multiple-time world champion.
Let's see. Championships and accomplishments of Trevor Murdoch. Lance Cade.
Lance Cade. That's right.
Yeah, as soon as you go to it, I mean, there's a picture of them.
Yeah, they were the world. I think they were 2, maybe 3 times world tag team champions.
I think it says 3 times.
Okay.
And Trevor Murdoch, I think they named it that because he looks like Dick Murdoch.
He absolutely does look like Dick Murdoch.
Thankfully, he doesn't have the same beliefs as Dick Murdoch. And I would only want to get into that. But because when you find out something like that, you're like,
we'll just say Dick Murdoch was not a very nice person.
And he was, and I'm also going to think, y'all worked with him?
Yeah. It's like,
and I guess they had a weird kind of good working relationship, but I would be kind of hesitant.
Yeah. I'd be like,
because it wasn't like he was like a fringe, curious kind of person, which I don't know why you'd be curious about that anyway.
Yeah.
No, he was a card carrying member. Yeah,
exactly.
He literally had a card that said, I am, anyway.
Yeah.
But
was there any other news?
Yeah, not.
I think that's everything that I've seen so far besides John Moxley and Tanahashi will be wrestling for the interim AEW World title at Forbidden Door. Okay. Tanahashi won his match at, I believe it was Dominion in New Japan Pro Wrestling show this past weekend. So we have that. And Jay White beat Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. So we may get Jay White versus Hangman Adam Page for the IWGP World Heavyweight title because Page has said that he wants that title.
All right. When is Forbidden Door?
Last Sunday in this month.
Okay. So, here in like a week and a half.
Yeah, it's getting close.
Yeah, because July 4th is on a Monday. So
yeah, I believe. Let me check. Let's see, Forbidden Door. It's from the United Center in Chicago.
Okay, Chicago, I've kind of noticed has become like big time AEW territory.
Yeah. It's June 26th.
Okay.
We also may get, which I'm going to call it now. If we get this match, it's absolutely probably going to be match of the night. Jack Sabre Jr., who has been regarded as one of the absolute best technical wrestlers in the world, has challenged Bryan Danielson to a match at Forbidden Door. If we get that match, that is going to be a technical masterpiece. Oh my God. Because Jack Sabre Jr. is fantastic. I've watched a lot of his work in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he is just he is literally on par with Bryan Danielson, and that is, not saying that lightly. The only two technical wrestlers that I've seen recently that are on par with Bryan Danielson is Jonathan Gresham, who is the Ring of Honor World Champion, and Zack Sabre Jr.
You got to let me know when that match is going to be.
Yes,
and we got to figure out a way to somehow watch that match.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. So we could be getting that match. We could be getting Jay White versus Hangman Page. Definitely getting Moxley and Tanahashi for the interim world title. There'll be a fatal four-way for the new All Atlantic Championship. I don't know what else, but Forbidden Door is shaping up to be a really good show.
Well, it definitely sounds like it. So, well, as we get closer, maybe we'll have a good preview of it.
Yeah.
So
because we'll actually be looking forward to the show.
Yeah, I'm thinking, because the WWE lately, well, I'm not going to say the shows laid an egg. I'm saying that our excitement for the upcoming shows was not that great just because of stuff going on.
Yeah. Now I am looking forward to Money in the Bank because I look forward to that show every year
because there's an objective there. It's not just but they're also not going to have a title show. So we already know the men's winner is not going to cash in tonight.
Yeah. But it's kind of one of those, who are they strapping the rocket to?
Right. And sometimes we'll go, what the crap was that? Why did you really Brock Lesnar? Really?
Okay, there were times when Damian Sandow won it, he absolutely should have cashed it in. He should have cashed it in as a surprise and beat a world champion. He should have been a world champion. Brock Lesnar didn't need the Money in the Bank briefcase. John Cena didn't need it. Randy Orton didn't need it. Sheamus didn't need it. There was a lot of guys that have won those, and I feel like they did it to pad their stat sheets, to pad their accolades, because those were guys that had already been multiple time champions, were already cemented, and didn't need the Money in the Bank to help them get over. Because that's what the Money in the Bank was originally designed to do, was help somebody get to that next level, like an Edge or a Rob Van Dam, a Dolph Ziggler, guys like that, to help them get to that next level. And then they started putting it on people that were already over. So there was no need, you're just taking this opportunity away from somebody that could use this to get toward the top of the card. And you're just giving it to people who have already been at the top of the card.
Or in one case, you got to give it to somebody, and it's got to be realistic.
Yeah.
I could not ever see Otis holding the world title.
No. And they just made a joke of that. He
was a crowd favorite at the time.
Yeah.
But
honestly, I like him better in the Alpha Academy with Chad Gable. I like him better as a heel, because the Otis gimmick, he was over, but that definitely had a ceiling, and that had a Bushwhackers type ceiling. He wasn't. That wasn't even a mid-card champion ceiling, that gimmick. He definitely was not going to be a world champion. So they just wasted the Money in the Bank.
Not with that beard.
No,
because
they should have. They should have given
the lovable hillbilly. That's kind of like what he was.
They should have given that Money in the Bank to Aleister Black, because Aleister Black was in that match.
Yes.
They should have given that to him and had him become a future world champion, because people would have wanted that.
Mm-hmm. But Vince didn't understand Aleister Black. But
it's like,
but anyway.
Yeah.
So Thursday's show probably be another news show that I could tell for right now, unless we can think of. Actually, you know what? I did shoot your topic today.
That's right. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
Yep. So we will have a topic, not just news. We just didn't have enough time because I came with the idea like today.
Yeah.
But it should be a good one. I mean, it's more of an editorial type thing, not just straight up news. But hopefully it should be a good show. and I will tell you, work is starting to kind of ramp up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
About that time. Yeah.
it's at that time. So and then my other stuff that I'm starting to train for is also
Kind of ramping up too.
kind of ramping up too. So
Yeah.
but part of that, I mean, I need for it too because I need to study because I need to get certified on the things.
Right.
So, but and I will also see you Wednesday. I'm gonna send you another reminder.
Okay.
Hopefully your power doesn't go out.
Yeah. Hopefully not.
Hopefully my power doesn't go out because I
Yeah.
thought it was going to go out earlier, but it didn't. But yeah, so Wednesday in the cubicle chat, Dwayne's going to be on there. We've been planning this for a month,
Yeah.
and things happen like power outages.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ironic considering what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
But until I see you on Wednesday and then again Thursday, God bless.
God bless.